the officials, actually, Brad, they protected Lamar Jackson on Sunday on a play.
Yep.
And I can't remember that many times that Lamar's gotten a roughing the passer call in his favor.
It's been a long time.
And if it is, it's so few and far between. It's a rare sight. But it was a big part of the game. It was right before the half. Looked like it was a sack for the Vikings. And it would have knocked the Ravens almost out of field goal range. It would have been Tyler Loop's definitely his career long if they were to attempt it. The reason why we're talking about this is Michael Strahan. If you can pull up that little graphic right there, Brad. Michael Strahan later on was really against this call. And he was adamant about this isn't a football, or this is football. You got to play. At what point are we going to realize quarterbacks play football too? We're all playing football. And I quote, him and Howie Long were both talking about essentially, what are you supposed to do? And I get the fact that you're playing football. I get that fact, but it is the rule, Brad.
Yes.
It's the rule that you can't drive your body weight on top of the quarterback, because you know what sells? Franchise quarterback sells in the NFL. And you know how this rule started? Just like the one that happened with quarterback low shots to the knee. How did that rule get implemented?
Brady.
Tom Brady tore his ACL on a low tackle. So guess what?
Bernard Pollard.
That's Raven legend. That's it. That is a flag. You know how the body weight on the quarterback got brought into it, Zach? Brad knows. Do you know why that was?
No. Why was it?
Aaron Rodgers got dropped against the Minnesota Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
Full body weight on him. He broke his collarbone.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers out. Star quarterback. So what do you do when the stars are out? You make rules to keep them safe.
Yeah.
And it was by the book, Brad. You even said it. It was by the book.
Yep. By definition of the rule, it was a foul. And for me, I, for one, was shocked that Lamar got that call, because he rarely ever gets.
I thought that
I could probably count on one hand the amount of times Lamar Jackson has got roughing the passer called on him in his career, in his 8 seasons. So, for me, that was a big shocker. But to look at it, it was a textbook by rule. Not saying anybody has to like it. I'm not exactly a big fan of the roughing the passer rules either. But if we're going to go by what the rules are, that was roughing the passer by far, and it was the right call.
And when you're looking at this, quarterbacks do change the dynamic of the game, and part of it is the style of which you play. If you're going to be aggressive, like Jackson Dart is super aggressive right now.
Yeah.
He's been already evaluated 4 times this year for a concussion, and then he got knocked out of the game against the Bears.
Yeah.
And the Bears come back and win, and Brian Dable gets fired. We'll get into that in a little bit.
Here's the other thing. If we're going to use examples as to why they hate the roughing the passer call, that's just not the one.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of other examples where you're just like, you've got to be kidding me. Josh Allen. But that right there is the worst example you could use as to why you don't like the rule, or why that's a roughing the passer call.
I disagree with Strahan, where he was like, quarterbacks play football too. They don't. We as a league, as a society, made the decision that they do not play the same game that the rest of the league does. You can't touch them the same way you can other players. Even when they're runners, you can't hit them at a certain time if they give themselves up and you're a millisecond late because you were running 22 miles an hour because you're a top athlete and you're expected to stop on a dime at the moment he begins to slide. They don't play the same game. So the call was what it was, and it was correct. If you want to say, like we're saying, like, you want to say it's soft, it is.
Yeah.
It's not football. That's not 20 years ago, that call is they're high-fiving him.
Correct.
They're like, way to send a statement. Way to get your shot worth. Hey, you got an opportunity. You got your money's worth on that tackle. Where we are today, how many times have we seen a roughing the passer call because a guy goes up to knock a pass down, and while being blocked, the hand comes down and grazes the face mask, and they get 15 yards.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not the same league as it was 20 years ago, and the same rules for the passer.
Remember Bart Scott laying out Ben Roethlisberger in that Christmas Eve game?
Do I remember Bart Scott? I've never seen Big Ben get hit
Me either.
like that ever.
Nope.
And you don't see that anymore because if you come in and do that nowadays,
You won't see that anymore.
it's not going to happen. But also around the NFL, you can't hit wide receivers like you used to. Ray Lewis's MO was you were going to get your head taken off. And Tom Brady even said, if I threw a pass over the middle, I have to keep in mind that if I put my receiver in danger, he might be knocked out for the game.
Yeah.
Like that was how it was.
Yeah,
And
protecting
that's
your
what
players.
But now receivers are more protected than they were.
Yep.
And quarterbacks by far are the most that are protected. And imagine this, though. If Lamar Jackson was hurt on that play and the play wasn't called, then the officials who are supposed to be calling that are going to be criticized a ton. And the Ravens, then in this case, talking about season then deflating, Lamar goes down, the season's done. Just like that. But it's a play. It happened. Was it the only play that dictated the Ravens winning this game? No. But you got to call it, and it was called right there. And you know what? These rules aren't going to change anytime soon. It's going to continue to protect the player as much as you can. But I do understand for guys like Strahan.
Oh, well, Strahan, I mean,
era.
He was, because that's not a flag in his era, not even close. Like
No.
that's football for him. Like that was another day in the office. You get an opportunity to lay a quarterback out, you did it. Like that was the kind of mindset. Last comment I have on it, because I see it was talked about, Joe bringing it up. They need to get this hip drop thing under control. I forget which Steeler linebacker it was last night, tried to break both of Justin Herbert's ankles on the same play, and Herbert had to walk off and get both ankles heavily taped after.
Yeah.
It was just textbook, literally dropped his entire body, tried to go on top of it.
Oh, Rashad Bateman yesterday.
Yep,
too.
Rashad Bateman was going to bring up J.K. Dobbins. Like it is, I swear, since they've made I think we've maybe seen it called twice.
I don't think I've even seen it called. And that was we got the email report. Point of emphasis. Yep. Hip drop tackles will be called, and defensive players were mad saying, well, how can you control that? And there's been no controversy. Why? Because they haven't called it.
It's all these guys, and I'm going to tell you, it's the same thing. The guy who did it to Herbert and the guy who did it to Rashad, all that's going to happen is, unfortunately for them, is they're going to get a $25,000 fine, and the NFL kind of be like, hand up, we missed that, our bad. And it's at that point, it's like that doesn't help Herbert, doesn't help J.K. Dobbins, who unfortunately is dealing with another injury now because of a illegal hip drop tackle. Like, I get it. It's hard to call, but I think my biggest discretion with it is, if it's so hard to call, why did you make a big deal out of it that this is going to be the, point of emphasis if you know that it's hard to call in the moment? Like, it just,
we've seen more not snap infractions. Actually, we have seen more snap infraction penalties.
In Minnesota we did.
But even, oh my goodness. The point of emphasis in game one last year when the Ravens were at Kansas City, and the amount of times the Ravens got called for, what was it, illegal formation? What was it, illegal shift, illegal formation on Ronnie or whatever it was?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, point of emphasis, we're going to call this. And then they backed off. I thought we'd see the hip drop tackle called earlier in the season. We just never have seen it called. But J.K. Dobbins avoided, it seemed like, a serious injury.
Yeah.
Rashad Bateman is going to be out. I don't blame defenders, but it is a dangerous play if you execute it, because it rolls up a player. You can be in a tough situation.